So here we have a situation where the Biden administration is just going to hope that you're not going to pay attention to this. That's not going to work very well, though, because when it comes to the southern border, it's getting so bad that even the Democrat media is spending some time on it. Here is the announcement. Remember, we've been talking to you about Title 42. Now, just by way of quick review, Title 42 is a CDC authority at our southern border that allows for immediate expulsion of some persons, not family units and then the asylum thing, but some essentially single adult males. And I think under certain circumstances, family units may have also been expelled, but it gets very down in the weeds. But some people could be turned away just because of the COVID threat and the cross-border COVID issue, right? So we're at a time of all kinds of restrictions. You're not allowed to bring people who have COVID into this country. That was the CDC authority. Now, this is going away. We've known for a while that it would go away. The Biden administration's been talking about it. Here is CNN announcing that this is the breaking news today. Yeah, Title 42 is going away in May.
Breaking news this hour, President Biden now rolling back a Trump-era pandemic policy that effectively blocked migrants from entering the United States. CNN's Priscilla Alvarez joins us now from Del Rio, Texas, near the U.S.-Mexico border.
The CDC now announcing that on May 23rd, it's going to terminate the public health authority that has allowed authorities to turn back migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. The reason for that date, John, is to allow the Department of Homeland Security to set up its preparations for when they go back to the normal operating procedure that was in place before these restrictions, and as they anticipate more migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Can we just say, Clay, they're hitting all-time records for last year and on a month-to-month basis already. So you notice that guy, the CNN anchor, goes effectively blocked migrants. It blocked very few migrants. Especially recently. In the earlier days, there were more who were being blocked. Remember, and these are illegal migrants, just so we're all very clear, folks. This is not, you're trying to come into the country legally. These are illegal migrants who you would think, can't they be turned away right away? No, not because of our asylum laws. Clay, they're already preparing for what they believe, according to Border Patrol intelligence, is the biggest surge at one time of illegal migrants coming into America ever as soon as this policy goes away. And Team Biden's just like, yeah, I guess we're going to go for it.
In all honesty, Buck, who is advising the Biden White House? Because let's just be honest. If you were trying to do pretty much the worst thing possible in virtually every category, that's what the Biden administration is doing. Buck, think about this. You're at 40% approval. You look at the data. You and I are data guys. You look at the data. Do you know where you get crushed already? Nearly the most by Republicans, independents, and even large segments of Democrats. Border security. You've spent more time, if you're the Biden White House, worried about the sovereignty of Ukraine's border than you have our own southern border. And then you make the decision with already a 40% approval rate that effective May 23rd, right as the weather's turning, you are going to give a green light to everybody south of the border, Buck, and you know that immediately what's going to happen is we're going to see a replication of that Del Rio, Texas moment where there are tens of thousands of people gathered right there in clusters at the border. You know that there's going to be huge caravans working their way up from Latin America through Mexico headed right for our border. And oh, by the way, Buck, you're also now the science. You're supposedly the party of science. You are saying, I just want everybody out there to think about this. COVID is so under control that we can end COVID restrictions at our southern border. But simultaneously, you are arguing COVID is not under control enough for American citizens to be able to take off their masks on airplanes and while they walk around in airports. Just think about this, Buck. How is this? I don't understand how they can be so politically tone deaf that they can think to themselves, we're going to open the border, which is going to be a disaster, and argue the reason why we can do it is because COVID is relatively under control, while simultaneously telling everybody out there listening to us right now who is an American citizen, put your mask on, sheep, as soon as you enter into an airport, as soon as you get on an airplane, because it's not safe enough for you to take that mask off. How could they be this dumb? I mean,
I got mask shamed.
How is it possible?
I got mask shamed on the plane.
You told me this off air yesterday.
On the way back to New York, I was wearing, and I had already worn it a few times on flights, and no one said anything. But I was wearing a gaiter, I guess you call it, right? One of those things that looks like what you wear going skiing or something.
Yeah.
And the stewardess told me you have to put on another mask. And I said, wait, why do I have to put on two masks? She says, that's Delta Airlines policy. And I said, well, you're just wearing one mask, as is pretty much everybody else. So clearly it's better for me to just wear the one mask. And she's like, well, you have the option of keeping the second mask on if you want, to which I'm like, are you the dumbest person on the planet? I mean,
Did you get nervous at all for a moment there when you started? Like my wife, anytime I disagree with anyone who has some small measure of authority, automatically like elbows me. You know, if I disagree with an umpire or an official, you know, like when my kids' games, or if I'm in an airplane, or if I'm, you know, what often happens is, you know, when you go through the airport now, you have to pull down your mask to show your face, which obviously demonstrates how stupid masks are when you're going through the TSA. And then sometimes I'll leave the mask down and not think about it. And then I'll walk and like put my, you know, bag on the conveyor belt or whatever. And somebody's like, you need to get your mask up right now, you know, and I'm like, you know, chill, you know. Did you think to yourself, like, because so many people respond irrationally to any kind of response to them when they're in those petty position tyrant of power, did you think to yourself, oh, I don't want to accelerate this at all when she was lecturing you about your mask?
No, I thought to myself, I'm going to take a deep breath and not actually aggravate the situation by going even more. Like, I mean, look, you know, now I'm admitting probably too much there. I thought about doing the whole like, oh, like, cool. Like, what's your name? Let me take a photo of you. Like, let's have a conversation about this later. But no. I didn't do anything. I just changed my mask. But you're asking me. I'm just saying. I wasn't
No, I'm just curious.
I was furious.
Do you think it would be beneficial? Now, it would suck. Do you think it would be beneficial if you got banned by an airline, one of us, not just me or you?
I know, but I'm almost at Delta Gold status. So
that's
it would be
the question.
Really, you know what I mean? Like, that's a big ask.
If you had to get banned by an airline, which airline would you want to get banned by? You know, it's like a political decision, which, like, I'm trying.
Probably
it
United.
Would be an airline that you never
just because I feel like United has mistreated me so many times. Like, I've gotten worse treatment from United than any other airline.
I'm just trying to think. So I fly out of Nashville. So the one that I would 1,000,000,000% not get banned by is Southwest, because Southwest goes everywhere out of Nashville. So that's the one that would hurt me. United, I don't even know that they hardly fly out of Nashville. So if I got banned for life from United, my wife would be furious, because inevitably the next place we were trying to travel, United would be like the only airline that goes there, right? And she'd say, oh, of course, we can't even get there now. But I feel like it was one of those lower rank airlines that you never fly. It might be a net positive.
I mean, you are banned from a major cable television network, so getting banned by an airline, too.
ESPN, I'm banned. They don't even allow me, like, they won't allow me to appear as a guest on any ESPN programming, and I'm banned by CNN, which is, honestly, I might be the only person in America banned by 2 cable networks. They won't even allow my name to be mentioned.
Really?
On either.
You're banned from 2 cable. I am in the presence of royalty here, folks. I thought it was just
I might be the only person in America banned by 2 different cable networks.
We just got to get you banned from a really bad country. You know, I had a friend who was banned from Iran a long time ago, and he took that as a real badge of honor.
Well, you know what? You and I may be banned from China. We haven't been able to travel in a long time, but I'm not sure. You know, my son the other day, he was like, you know, Dad, I'd like to go see the Great Wall of China. I said, you know, your dad might get buried underneath the Great Wall of China if we made the attempt as a family to go travel over there. I don't know that's a good move.
They would take a lot of time on your visa. I went to China a few years ago. They'll take a lot of time on your visa. You'd have to write special essays and do all this additional stuff. And then just keep in mind, they would monitor everything that you do when you're there. Everything that you do would be under the thumb of the security agency, which, you know, it's usually bored. But that's weird. It's weird to think that that's how big the security state is there. By the way, speaking of the security state, I just wanted to add that, going back to the border thing for a second, And the situation could be even worse than people anticipate, not only because of Title 42 going away and a huge border surge, but the Biden administration is, and this is hat tip to my friends at the Center for Immigration Studies with this analysis, considering changing the asylum process, changing the rules within the asylum process so that asylum officers will be deployed right to the border. And so instead of even you have to appear before a judge, they'll just have asylum officers deployed to the border who can say, oh, yeah, okay, that sounds good. You now have basically speed up the asylum process even more for everybody. They want the illegal surge, folks. Just I want to understand this. The Biden administration is not trying to stop this. They invite this.
And it's just going to be another. How low can Biden's approval ratings go, Buck? I mean, that is one question, right? He's at 40. Can he go to 35? I've seen him at 37 in some places, some polls. That's about as low as I've ever seen anybody. Could he? I don't know the answer, but it feels like they're trying to touch the bottom of modern American political approval ratings. Remember, the polls are also skewed in his favor, Buck. So it's even wilder to think when you hear he's in the upper 30s. We know that that's not accurate. Historically, it's in favor of him. I mean, I think it's a wild idea. They continue to make the worst possible decisions.